England. It is home to royalty, elegance, and as well a proud and honest people, with a voice that not only has a unique sense of humor, but is spoken with valor and dignity. And despite many attempts of other powers attempting to silence this great voice throughout history, they have failed only to make the people of Great Britain stand taller and wiser. And today we are looking at a unique city that has been the center of pop culture, political ideals, literacy, and art throughout all of its history. A city that has had great moments, but also has scars from its history to give it a great character. The city known as London. So hey guys, what's going on? Dave Wobble here. Now welcome to FTD Facts. This is the second time we're talking about something about the UK for our videos. Because here on FTD Facts, we've been learning a lot about different people and places, from like Russia to India to Pakistan to Saudi Arabia. We just love learning about many different cultures and people, and learning about what is great about these places while telling the stories of these places and the people within its culture. Now today also we were supposed to do a video on France because a lot of you guys requested us to do so. However, because of the recent attacks in London, we felt we wanted to do something very empowering for, the people that live in London, because it's a really terrible thing that happened. And of course, for our viewers, it's great to hear that there are some positive things despite a really dark time around a certain place. And with that in mind, I want to know from all you beautiful people out there in the real world, I want to know what makes you proud, what about your country makes you proud to live there. For me, being in Canada, I love just the fact that we're easygoing, like peacekeepers. We always try to be really nice people and try to help other people, and that makes me proud to be a Canadian. So I want to know what about your country makes you proud. Also, I gotta thank a few of our viewers, such as RT, Arjan Singh, Raghib Khan, Muhammad Bilal Malik, and Gummeet Atkinson. These guys recommended us to talk about London way back in the past, so I hope you guys are watching this video, because thank you guys for recommending it to us. Sorry it's been so long. But London, it is a magnificent city with a metro area population of 13,879,757 people as of 2015. And the size of London's metro stretches out to 8,382 kilometers square. And it's amazing, this city has over 22 postal codes and 9 area codes for the telephone. And speaking of area, this is an area that has had a lot of history that dates back to well over 2,000 years ago. And when I hear about stuff like that, I'm like, wait, how did London start? How did we get places like Piccadilly Circus, the Palace? Like, how did we get all those places? Well, for that, we gotta go back in time and look at its history. Scientists and archaeologists now have a pretty good clue that people were living around the area of the River Thames way back to over 2,000 years ago. Scientists found an old part of a bridge in 1999 that dated its wood back to 1500 BC. With also a large timber structure dating back to approximately 4000 BC, which was found south of the Vauxhall Bridge. But if we were to dip into folklore, which is something we really don't do on this channel, people would say that the area of London was founded by Brutus of Troy in 1000 to 1100 BC. And this was after he defeated a giant called Gog-Magog. And although folklore is fun, we should really skip into the actual history of London. Now there is evidence that shows there was a Brythonic settlement in the area during the Roman times of 43 AD. But however, these settlements were destroyed in 61 AD by Queen Bosida of the Iceni tribes. But by the time the Romans came into the area, they completely restructured everything. And between the years of 180 to 220 AD, the Roman city of Londinium, which is where London currently resides, at this time had approximately 60,000 people and was the capital of the region, and also had a giant wall constructed around it. And to date, many coins were found from that time, but the one thing that's funny about the wall itself is they really have no idea why it was built. However, this only lasted till about the 5th century, when the Roman Empire crashed and burned, leaving the city completely abandoned, with the Anglo-Saxon settlement, Ludenwick, being built nearby. And throughout history, this poor little town was attacked numerous times by the Vikings. But by 886, the Great Viking or Great Heathen Army was defeated by the Anglo-Saxon king Alfred the Great. And he was famous for reconstructing London and putting people back within the Roman city. This is because he moved the citizens from Ludenwick back into the old Roman city in order to protect them from the attacking Vikings. The old city of London was renamed to Ludenburg, and just as Alfred the Great expected, in 994 the Vikings attacked again. However, this time they had reconstructed the walls, and the Vikings attacked only to suffer extreme losses that would result in the collapse of their empires. Now let's fast forward to the 11th century, because at this time London was the biggest city in all of the United Kingdom. And many people like to think the UNESCO heritage site, Westminster Abbey, might have been actually created during Roman times because it looks very Roman. However, it was founded in 960, and this 32 square feet structure, with a tower height of 225 feet, was not only the most grandiose churches in all of Europe, but it served as the location where William, the Duke of Normandy, who was the first Norman king of England, was crowned on Christmas Day in 1066, after winning the Battle of Hastings between the Normans and the French. By the 1300s, London itself had grown to a population of over 100,000 people, but that wasn't going to stay for long. This is because the Black Plague had struck the city, and London, like many other cities, was hit the hardest, with the city losing a third of its population. And you know guys, we could talk for a long time about the history of London, but I feel like we're gonna have to dip into that in another episode. Because let's be honest, you guys were here to hear some cool facts about maybe even the modern day London. Like, what is so great about London today? Why is it so fascinating? Well, first of all, because of London's history and culture, it attracts over 19.98 million people a year as of 2016, making London the second most visited city in the entire world, next to Bangkok. And this isn't only due to the fact that London's very multicultural and because it's got a great history and it's cool, place to be, it's got a lot of cool structures to see. If you include the Westminster Abbey, the city has 6 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, such as the Tower of London, Greenwich, St. Margaret's Westminster, the Old Royal Navy College, and of course, the Royal Palace of Westminster. And let's be honest, I think a lot of people go there just because they want to see the Royal Guards and try to tease them, because they don't move. But speaking about the Royal Guards, let's talk about what the guards actually guard, and that is the palace. The house that is meant for the meeting of the House of Commons and the House of Lords was first constructed in 1016. Now, the original palace was unfortunately destroyed in 1834, and this was called the Burning of Parliament Buildings. And the building we know of today began reconstruction in 1840, finishing around 1870. Now, the fire in 1934 accidentally began when a stove overheated, setting fire to the House of Lords room. And although most of the palace went up in flames, fortunately the Westminster Hall was not nearly as damaged, and as of today still remains as the oldest part of the entire palace. And now you may not know this, but when we look at like Big Ben, you guys probably think the whole tower is called Big Ben. It's actually called Elizabeth Tower, and Big Ben refers to the bells within the tower, not the building itself. One other thing that I do love about London is it's not just its architecture that's beautiful, but it's also its trees. As a matter of fact, some people call it the Forest City. This is because the city attempts to remain green, as 40% of the area is dedicated to green space. And one of the largest of these within the city is Richmond Park. It is over 955 hectares, or 2,359 acres. And although it may be considered the largest royal park, it is second to the Lee Valley Park, which is just outside the city and has over 10,000 acres. Another thing that also makes London very unique from other cities throughout the world is it's very multicultural. The city has over 300 ethnic groups and languages spoken across the 32 boroughs within the city. And yes, it is considered one of the most multicultural areas in a small amount of space. You might have also heard that London is considered a rainy city and that it rains all the time in London. Ironically, if you were to actually look at it, this place gets less rain than places like Sydney, Miami, or Orlando in Florida. London is a city that is a working machine, a home to great intellects and knowledge in many different fields, from art to astronomy. And to prove this, London has over 154 recognized sites that are committing to higher education. From places like the University of Westminster to the University of Oxford, the city has over 2 million students training to become better people. It is also a city that has the record for hosting the most amount of Summer Olympics. The most recent one it hosted was its 3rd time in 2012, but the very first time they hosted was in 1908, and it earned the right to host it for a 2nd time in 1948, and this was right after the Olympics took a 12-year break because of the Second World War. London may also serve as the capital of all of the United Kingdom. It is not just home to the Queen, but it is also home to a lot of economy. London is ranked as the world's leading financial center for international business, and the city generates 22% of the GDP in all of the United Kingdom. And in 2009, it handled 36.7% of global currency transactions, which was a daily turn of $1.85 trillion in US, which is way more than New York. Sorry, New York. But besides its economy, it remains capital because in the UK, 70% of the trains within the country either start or finish in this city. But that's it, guys. That is us just briefly talking about what London has to offer and what the history of London is. To be honest, guys, I just couldn't even put all this information into one short little video because there was so much. Like, I had to skip 1,000 years of history just to talk about what is going on today. Otherwise, we would have so much history. Like, we skipped World War II, we skipped the Great Fire, but we'll probably get to that in a part 2. Now, guys, thank you also for watching this video. If you guys want to help us out, you guys could sign up for Grammarly.com/FTD Facts. These guys are our sponsor, and you guys help us create more videos. Also, if you really like what we're doing and you want to sponsor and you want to get some exclusive content, be sure to check out our Patreon and see what our offers are and what our rewards are for you guys being a Patreon, because we really like doing stuff for the community and we're trying to learn and educate people about so much. And on top of that, if any of you got a recommendation for a future FTD Facts video, boom, put it down there and we're gonna look into it. Cool? But this has been us just pulling back the curtain to get a peek at the amazing city known as London. A giant player in the world's economy and home to many different cultures, boroughs, and communities of people working together to achieve greatness. And like most stories, London has had many great moments and dark moments within its history. And what stands most out of all these tales is a history that makes us all reflect on who we are as an individual and a community member. Once again, thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out and support us on Patreon. And of course, if you want to support us, sign up for Grammarly.com. Hey, it's totally free. The links for those are in the description box below. And of course, if you really like this video about London, you might like our video about the UK. Or who knows, you might be interested in science and space. And with that, you should check out our facts about the Soviet-Russian space program, which is fascinating. I learned quite a lot, and so will you. But thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Cool? Hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.